In this video, follow along as we add back on the knee control, the light, and have this machine wired so that it can be operated with a foot control as well. This will be really fun. Let's get started. Now, there are several components to getting all of the electrical back on the machine. The first thing that I want to talk about for this particular 99 and its setup is the knee control for it. This was the original knee control that came inside the base. My customer wants to have the option to run the machine by foot or by her knee control. I do not like this older style. It is unreliable and very hard to fix if something goes wrong. It also had the Chicago style plug connections to it. We got rid of those. What I did is I took this out and I found a newer version of a knee control. Now, when I found this knee control, I had to pay attention to the connection. This is what the connection looks like for the knee control that she is going to use. So when I bought this one, I had to make sure that the connection here is the same as that shape, and it is. Then I took the old one out and the screw holes line up perfectly, so I was able to screw it back in from the bottom, and then I was able to start adding my new wiring. This is just lamp cord. I have marked one yellow and one black. That's because this machine is also getting a power block. It never had one before. This was the old motor mount, nowhere to add a power block. I found a new motor mount that will work with this machine, and you can see we can put a power block on to this. That means all of our connections from the motor, the light, and the knee control are all going on this power block. Hence, I have to make sure I've marked yellow and black, because the yellow one will go on 1 and the black one will go on 2. So let's go ahead and get the cover back on this. So this is the original cover. You can see the 2 holes from where the Chicago style plugs were going through to meet the old knee control. I'm going to feed this cord up through this very first hole, and then we can go ahead and set this back in place. Now, there's 2 screws that I saved that hold the cover on, because this wasn't used for storage. Obviously, it was used to house the knee control. So I'll start that one. Now, the second screw is going to get this little part that spins over and holds the machine down. And then when you want to raise it up to look at the underside and oil, you spin it to the right. It has a little piece of felt that goes underneath it. That's just to keep scratches off, but make sure that I've included that as well. And I'll just tighten that down, but you can see it still spins. Now, what about this hole here? I have a little plug that I'm going to use. I'm just going to push it in. If you are making a change like this where you want to plug up a hole, let me show you the part. I have a bag of them from McMaster Car. If you want to pause for a minute, you can read the part number right there. These are again from McMaster Car. Now that I have the knee control securely back in the base, I have my wires here that are going to go to the power block, I can go ahead and get the machine back into the base before I do anything else. Now, that's going to involve setting the machine onto these 2 pins and then attaching them with the set screws, and that's through the base of the machine. Because I am shipping this machine back to the customer, I'm not going to put these set screws in right now. I am going to get the machine on the base so we can finish up getting the motor installed, but I'm not going to put these on. And if you took them out, they go back in the opposite way of how you took them off. So that's the next step, getting the machine back into the base. Thankfully, this is a aluminum machine. So I've set them down on the pins. Now I would put the set screws in if I were permanently attaching it. But now I can just drop the machine down, and that's how I would lock it into place. This is exciting, isn't it? Okay, now we can attach the motor mount. So the motor mount has the cutouts here which fit up against the protrusion here. I'm just going to line everything up. I'm not too concerned yet with the height of things, but I am concerned as to whether or not I have the right screw for this. So I do have a problem. I need to go find a different screw. The screw that originally worked with the original motor mount is not going to work with this machine. It's too short. So let me go find a screw. Okay, crisis averted. I actually am going to use the screw that's for the late model 99 because it works perfectly with this motor mount. I can find another screw for this machine later, but at least we can get it back together. And you see it has a washer. It's just a little bit longer so it goes through the body of the mount. There we go. Not too concerned about the height at this point. Just want to get it on. We'll set the height shortly. Now, we're not going to put the power block on. Why? Because we need to attach all the wires. So we'll save that. Let's get the light on next. Now, here is the light that's going on this machine. It has the original mount that came with the machine, but actually this light is different because my little switch was broken. And I did rewire this light. You'll see I have one red wire that is going to pin 3 and one that's yellow, which is going to pin 1. It's important to get them in the right place or you will have some very funny things happen. So I did not film the rewiring of this light. I am going to link a video for you in the description box below to Bob Fowler's channel. He shows you how to get this apart. The rewiring part is simple. The taking apart part is not. It will literally make you sweat. Maybe one day I will have that on my channel, but I did not feel comfortable while I was trying to get this apart to film it. So next best thing, you get to watch Bob's video if you need to rewire this light and you're comfortable to do it. Now this is going to slide on. This is kind of a unique mount. I haven't seen many like this for lights, but there's a hole right here. It's going over the spool pin. And then there's a hole here. We have a thumb screw that's going to screw in through this hole into the body of the machine. And then finally, there's a little finger here that's going to push down into this hole. So I'm just going to slide it on and get that thumb screw going. Sort of at a weird angle, but we can do it. Tighten that down. I'm now going to push that little finger into the hole and the light is on. Now, the last thing that we need to add before we get our power block on is the motor itself. Now, here is the motor. It's going to go with the pulley pointing towards us. I'm going to choose the first screw hole. Believe it or not, these holes do not line up perfectly with these holes, so I'm going to start trying this hole into this screw hole. And I wanted to make sure too the pulley isn't hitting the motor. Now, let's talk about belts. Finding the right fit for your belt can be a little bit frustrating. At least it has been for me. So this is a stretchy belt. It's actually not that stretchy. It's one of the smaller ones I have. I'm just going to see by fitting it over the hand wheel and getting it into the proper groove if it's going to work on this motor or if it's going to be too tight. Why do I love these belts? Because, do you see, I didn't have to take the hand wheel off or loosen the motor at all to get the belt on. It feels a little tight. Everything spins okay, but I think if I can raise the motor a little bit just to change the tension here when I pinch a little bit, I'm going to do that. So see, I brought it up just a little bit. That feels a little bit better. And that's the smallest belt. I don't know if I switch to one like this, it would probably be too big, but we'll see. We'll see how this belt works. I'll give you the different part numbers of the belts that can work with your 99, but the best thing to do is try to find the part number on the old belt if you need to switch it out, and you may end up buying one or two to get it right. So now we have everything back on. We can go ahead and put all the wires onto the power block. And if you have more questions about this belt, I feel like I kind of sprung that on you. Let me know and I will answer them for you. So, power block. The first thing I want to do is figure out this wiring for the light. Obviously, we don't want it getting stuck in the belt, so I'm going to run it down behind the motor and bring it around this way. So see, now this light's, the wiring is behind the motor. It's not going to get caught in anything, and it will come around to the power block this way. Then I have my wires for my foot control and for my motor. And yes, these are a little bit long. I'm probably going to shorten them, but for now I know they work, so we're going to leave them and I'll shorten them before I ship it out. So everything's color coded now, right? So we can look at our power block. I'm just going to remove my little nuts here. Now, I don't know that it matters, but I always like to put the connectors for the motor onto the power block first. So I have one red coming from the motor. I also have one red coming from the light. I'm going to put that on next. Get them all seated. And with this setup, which you may not have, if you're not doing a knee control and a foot control, you may not have it. You'll have less wires. But in this setup, I'm going to have 2 wires on every pin. So then I can do the black from the motor, that's the center pin here, and black from the foot control. Do you think this is going to work? I think it's going to work just fine. So last are our yellow wires. I'm going to take the yellow one from the light. That goes on pin 1. They are numbered. If you don't have the colors on your power block anymore, 1 is yellow, 2 is black, 3 is red. And our foot control cord, and then my nut. So what do I have here? I have a yellow from the light and from the foot control. I have a black from the motor and the foot control. I have a red from the light and the motor. This little jumble of wires will definitely need some shortening, but I'm ready to put the power block on and secure it now. So I just have my screw and it's on. So, and nothing here is going to get in the way of the belt or the pulley spinning or the hand wheel spinning. So let's turn this around and guess what? Let's turn it on. Now, the good news with this new setup, I can use the same style power cord and foot control that I use on a Singer featherweight. So it has the part that plugs into the power block. One side comes off for the foot control. The other side comes off for the plug, to plug it into the wall. This is so much less complicated than what it was before. So I'm just going to plug this into the power block. And then I'll plug this into my workbench. Okay. We can test the light now. Can you see that? It works. There's the light. It's on my hands. Yay. And if I test out the foot control, I would say that's very nice. Now, the knee control. And I'm going to have to slide this forward so I have the clearance that I need, but I can put the knee control in. So, and it's just going to pop in like that. Had to pull this really far forward. So the knee control, let me see if I can show you. It goes all the way down my workbench. So when the knee control is pushed with your knee, let me show you. And because I used the newer style knee control, look at the speed control I have just with the knee control. Really, really slow. It's very good. So, and when she wants to use the knee control, she can. If she doesn't want to use it, she can just take it out and set it aside. So we have got this machine powered up again. And I don't know about you, but this really felt like a long time coming. Next video, we will thread up and sew, and that is the end of this series. When we do that, we'll be checking our tension, we'll be making sure our bobbin winders set appropriately, and any other little fine-tuning things that might come up. Hopefully this was helpful for some of you. I realize, and I have said it all throughout the series, your 99, even though, you know, it may be slightly similar, may still not be exactly like this one. The motor could be different. The way the light mounts could be different. There are many things that could be different, but hopefully it's helpful to at least some of you and you learned something. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.